Over the past few months, we've had hundreds of thousands of people who have cancelled their TV license to stop funding the BBC. The BBC are kicking off, so they have hired 800 agents to go and warn these people and tell them that they have to stop paying their TV license. There is now a new group of pensioners and also those who are slightly younger who've decided to, in solidarity with the over 75s, to also stop paying their TV license fee. It's because, as most of you know, the BBC have made a decision to no longer provide a free TV license for over 75s because they need money. And so a lot of people have decided to stop paying their TV license. And the BBC, in order to make more money, they've spent a lot of money to hire 800 agents to go around and scare people and tell them that, we will come for you. This is literally like the Soviet Union. It's, it's embarrassing. So the BBC, this is according to the City AM yesterday, the BBC has hired 800 agents to curb a growing revolt over the end of the over 75s license fee, as it today prepares to send out millions of letters to affected households. So that's one thing. Then the actual article talks about a BBC spokesperson who's told the City AM that the 800 agents will be specially trained staff working to support customers through the changes to the over 75 license, and that they will not make any house visits. Obviously, the house visits, glad they're not doing that, but they're doing a lot of phone calls and online and letters and everything. But I love the spinning of that message. They are trained staff working to support these customers. Pensioners groups have coordinated resistance to the move, urging that all over 60s to cancel their TV license direct debits in solidarity with the over 75s. So that's one thing. And then you have a situation where the National Pensioners Convention echoed those concerns, adding that over 75s, whose income is just above the pension credit threshold, will be the hardest hit. And that's true. Now, they've said that they will have to buy less food and not put the heating on to afford the license. It's embarrassing for the BBC and the government to have a situation like this. Now, the announcement that the BBC has hired 800 agents to deal with those not paying the license also stoked anger. The 800 agents are there to go after the people who are cancelling their TV license. They're not there to support customers through trained staff. These are lies. They're lying to everybody, and they think that people are stupid. Yes, there's one issue with the BBC when it comes to the over 75s who until recently were receiving the free TV license fee. And whilst we have the license fee, whilst we have the BBC structure as it is, the over 75s should not pay as before, just like what we had. And if the BBC wants to save money, they could cut some of the stupid and useless programs, or they could sack some of the stupid staff. All these diversity programs and divisions, all these bureaucratic weird things that they have decided to create an empire of the BBC. What sort of a news channel that's not a private enterprise is this big? The whole thing is a monster and is funded by the taxpayer. And that's one thing. Whilst we have the license fee, I believe the over 75s should not pay. In reality, the whole thing should go away. Nobody should pay anything because the license fee shouldn't exist. But the problem is not just the BBC and its charter, it's Ofcom. Ofcom is the root of all problems when it comes to the media in this country. I sat down earlier with Ben Habib, the Brexit party. Ben Habib, who was the MEP, is a top businessman in London. So we sat down to talk about Ofcom and the BBC. What's your take on the way this whole society is going, the way the media shifts the narrative, creates the narrative? It's no longer ordinary people or even politicians. What's your view on everything?
Well, I find the whole media landscape deeply distressing. Ofcom seems to me to be a body that itself has been hijacked by what I would call neoliberal, urban, dictatorial wokeism. And if Ofcom's been hijacked by that, it's no surprise that the BBC and Sky are heading in that. I don't think Sky's as bad as the BBC.
Sky's getting worse than the BBC at times.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I've spoken to a number of friends who work in media. Obviously, I can't name them because they'd have these big jobs, but they said the way things are going, Sky is getting worse than the BBC, which is I think it's because the BBC still has that charter that kind of keeps them. You can't be obviously biased.
Yeah.
But I think it's still a problem. The news just came out that the BBC are hiring a few hundred agents to go after the over 50s and over 60s who are cancelling their TV license.
Oh, absolutely they are.
That's
absolutely. I mean, absolutely.
This is 1984.
I know, it's incredible. It's incredible. They're going to pursue aggressively those people who aren't paying the license fee.
What's your view on this whole over 75s license? I mean, because
I think the license fee should be abolished.
Okay, so you're generally against it like me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The license fee should be abolished. There is no place to pay a license fee in 2020 for a media channel. And by the way, I think the BBC is a dinosaur that's going to die its own death because the young aren't going to pay this fee. They can get their news and their entertainment without paying anything to the BBC. True. And the more I speak to people, the more I realise they're actually using all sorts of media channels other than terrestrial television to get their info. So I think the BBC, unless it reinvents itself fast, is going to find itself progressively marginalised and eventually bust.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, the best solution for the government, essentially, because it's still part of the state, even though it's separate, is to save it before it dies by privatising it, whether it's ad-based or subscription-based. But do you think, I mean, which method do you think is actually could be best? Like, because these days with adverts, or because Sky News worked with adverts.
Yeah, I mean, I would frankly, I would give the BBC a 12-month transition period.
Yeah. Now you're in favour of transition periods.
I'd give them a 12-month transition period and say, your license fee is switched off in 12 months.
Okay.
And you're free. Yeah, you're free to act like any commercial broadcaster.
Right.
And off you go.
That's actually quite logical. I mean, you're in business. I'm not surprised that you said that. I think that's the best way to do it, because you create some sort of time.
Yeah, to give them a bit of time to reposition themselves, and
and they won't feel like it's been imposed onto them, like someone else making decision in terms of the new structure. It's not the government, politicians, or people.
Yeah, they can make their own decision.
If they fail,
on their own 2 feet. Absolutely, like the rest of us in life.
Right. Have you had any personal experience with the BBC or any other kind of channel in terms of bias or?
Well, I think undoubtedly during my time as a politician, we got the Brexit Party got much less airtime than the more left-leaning Liberal Democrats and Remain faction of the Tory Party and the Labour Party. They just get more airtime.
Yeah.
And you can't help but feel when you're being questioned by interviewers that actually they're trying to shut you down the minute you're making a valid point, because they've got their own underlying agenda. I'm very aware of the symbiotic relationship that politicians have with the media, and we need them as much as they need us.
Sure.
So you won't find me banging the table, calling out any particular interviewer, but I think there is undoubtedly a trend.
It's a cultural thing inside.
There's a cultural thing,
I get it, because you mentioned the European Parliament days. There was that period when you guys in the chamber protested against the EU anthem, which was quite peaceful. But then the Liberal Democrats wore the t-shirts B2 Brexit, obviously we can't say that. Ofcom. And they didn't get any criticism from the media. I remember Politics Live and Question Time. You guys got criticism.
Absolutely. They had a swear word
I know.
on some pretty horrible looking yellow collarless t-shirts. And all we did, actually under duress, because the protest that we were going to make, people may not be aware of this, the protest we were going to make was simply to sit still, not to stand up. And
Well, you have to stand.
And you're meant to stand, but lots of people in the chamber weren't standing, not just us. And the speaker said, "Stand for the country's anthem."
country's anthem.
For the country's anthem.
Brilliant.
And we stood up, and I can't remember whether Nigel took the lead or whether it was spontaneous. Someone turned their back, and we all turned our backs.
That doesn't turn out to be Yeah, it was probably either Nigel or Richard Tyson.
Exactly.
That's actually quite interesting, but yeah, you guys got a lot of like
we got a lot of
criticism.
We made the front page of the FT.
Well, it worked. I mean, you got the attention. So that was funny. I mean, I think, but going back to the BBC, I think it's not necessarily just the BBC. It's Ofcom. I think my problem is Ofcom.
It's Ofcom.
The culture they've created.
That's why I started with Ofcom.
Yeah, I think.
And actually, I think what this country badly needs is a balancing act.
Yeah.
Ofcom needs reforming, and it needs a balancing act. We don't want a Fox News because I think that's kind of overtly right wing, and but we need something over on the other side of the political spectrum, a neutral outlet which actually gives all voices, as long as they're not espousing, hate crimes.
Yes.
Gives all voices an equal opportunity to express their views.
Sort of like the Times when it comes to newspapers. They try their best to.
Yeah, or maybe the Telegraph.
The Telegraph. That's a different one. Well, yeah, thanks for watching that interview. Actually, the longer version, full interview, is going to be posted at 8 p.m. after this video. That's a longer version. We're going to talk about, obviously, the media, but also Brexit and this post-lockdown new normal economy that we're going to be facing. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, click on a bell next to it, support the channel by becoming a member. The link is in the description, or just go on youtube.com/myitc/join. 8 p.m. we'll release the full interview with Ben Habib on MyITC. I'll see you guys in the next video.